Okay, let's call this board session to order. It is Tuesday, August 6th, 2013 at 1:30. Begin with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Wagner?
I'm here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Rizzo?
Here.
Okay, let's sign the journal. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as outlined.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Old business, Mrs. Wilson?
I don't think I have any yet
Oh,
today.
wonderful. Nicole?
The only thing that I have is I got reservations from Holly and Fred about the township meeting, September 19th, I believe it is. Are you
Okay.
going to be attending?
I
that?
probably will. I usually send my check in with my
Okay.
reservations, so
Okay.
I'll just, you can
Because for
tell them.
some reason, she only sent one to Stacy and one to Holly.
I got one at home.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I got one at home too, just
Okay.
yesterday too, so I'll send mine in with my check,
Okay.
so she
All
doesn't
right.
double count us there.
Okay, old business from you, Holly?
No, mine's new.
Yours is new? Okay. Okay, I don't have any old either. New business.
New business, I have bill vouchers 89 and 90. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund for 2013. This is at the request of Common Pleas 1 and Common Pleas 2, putting $15,000 into transcripts, court reporter, professional services for $15,000 and juror fees for $20,000. Total appropriated $35,000. We got a letter. Basically, they have this amount is to cover estimated jury fees for the current schedule, 65 days of trial for the remainder of 2013. Common Pleas 1, and the same for.
Is this coming out of special projects? Did I understand that?
These are not.
These are not.
These are not. The only thing they do for special projects is the salaries for the magistrate. So this is, and I think we've moved 15,000 already from, I want to say Indigent Council to one of the transcript. I think we did one already this year, but I'm not sure.
So this will bite into that.
Yeah, but by the general, yeah, with Judge Kelby's been informing me of this, that they've had just an exorbitant amount of jury trials so far this year, and that he's exhausted his funds is because of the excessive number of jury trials. And he feels that there's still gonna be more as the year goes on, so he didn't wanna cut himself short. Even though there may be some funds coming back at the end of the year if he doesn't use all of it, but he just wanted to be prudent in where his resources were.
Once again, there's nothing we can really do about it, but it does eat into the, just so you're all aware, it does eat into that unappropriated balance.
Yeah. Okay, I have a supplement to the permit appropriations for the Issue 1 Resurfacing Program Fund 202, putting $1,220,076.06 into contract services. I have an appropriation adjustment with the Clerk of Courts Computer Research Fund 148, moving $1,000 from salaries to contract services. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations within the Community Corrections PSI Writer Fund 226, putting $54,343.50 into contract services. I have a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2011 Chevy Equinox on behalf of the Seneca County Prosecutor. This is what we discussed last session. We just had to reference the codes for this and pass the resolution.
Excuse me, is that a used
Yes,
vehicle?
it was, yep. Yep. That's the one we traded in the two little cars or something that Divine said specifically they could fit into.
I think gracefully is how you say it.
Gracefully, that's it, yes, gracefully.
Yeah.
I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of the unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. This again is the 2004 Dodge Stratus and the 2004 Nissan for trade on the prosecutor's vehicle. I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to sign a satisfaction of mortgage for Mary Salzar for the satisfaction of a mortgage loan with Seneca County Commissioners for work done through the Community Housing Improvement Program FY95 home funds.
And this is the one that we talked about yesterday. There were a couple applied for a CHIP grant, and they're now getting the divorce, and there's some issues.
Yeah, there's some, I think it said something in there about something domestic, something, which we kind of figured was probably a divorce.
Do we have any recourse on this?
Well, we're signing a satisfaction of mortgage,
Yeah.
so was
I
it
mean,
paid back somehow? Is
The
it-
mortgage has met the terms of depreciation of the promissory note and 100% of the mortgage is forgiven. So if they keep this,
So what does that mean? Does that mean that they fulfilled
Sounds like.
their obligation? When 100%, I take that as that the loan's been paid back.
yep, secure payment.
WSOS processes these things
Yep.
for us.
And this is state money, not county money, because the
It's
check.
that CHIP grant, yeah,
Yeah.
which is state, federal, I'm not sure. Federal, okay.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into contract with Pre-Stress Services Industries LLC. This is for the bid for $64,500 for the County Road 14-1.69 box beams. The Seneca County Engineer. A resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into an amendment number 1 to the Access Visitation Grant SFY 13 Patchworks House on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. A resolution authorizing the updated on-call policy and procedure for the Seneca County Dog Warden's Office effective today, August 6, 2013. I have a resolution authorizing addendum 1 to the obstruction removal contract with Richland County Engineering for the Seneca County Airport. And that's all I have.
Is there a motion?
We'll make a motion that we adopt these appropriations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion on any of the above written?
Yes, I have a question on, go back a couple. Third one. The contract services, issue 1 resurfacing program fund. That is the, and now I've got it here, but with everything, I didn't read through it all. Is this the townships?
Yes.
We do the contract and it's all the townships and that, okay.
Yep,
That's just what I wanted to,
Somehow Mark
Confirm how that
applies
works.
for that on behalf of the townships. I'm not too sure how all that paperwork flows.
because
Yeah.
Jim Nims used to take care of that, and since he was gone, Eden Township kind of picked up the paperwork on it, and since then Tanya's helped Eden Township, so we've kind of gotten,
Default. Yeah.
yes, so we do all the paperwork for issue 1. Tanya takes care of all that, so.
it's fine. Just one of the trustees a couple weeks asked me if we had approved that yet and if it was Evan B. And I said, I believe that was where the contract went, but we haven't seen the paperwork come back through to the best of my knowledge, so
Yep.
like I said, learning.
Yep.
That's it, okay. Now I've seen it.
Okay, any other discussion, questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Zoll?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rea?
Yes. All right, other new business?
Nope.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, a couple things again here. I received a call the other day, and I know a little bit what's going on here with the elevator in the annex building. We had a lady, matter of fact, was out of town, was bringing her 89-year-old father, and just had a very difficult time getting up the stairs because the elevator's out of order in the annex building. And I understand that,
Not the annex building, the.
CSB.
okay, yeah. And we're trying to get the schematics of it so we can fix it ourselves. And where do we stand at with
We
that?
got the prints yesterday,
We got the prints yesterday.
Yes.
So,
and unfortunately, it cost us a good chunk of change just for prints, but we could not locate prints for the elevators, electronics anywhere, so we had to request it from the manufacturer, from the company.
it may not hurt since we have those and since they cost us money to get them to take a backup copy
Yep.
of those.
Yep.
And so that we have those in 2 different places.
Yep. We're gonna do a hard copy and a electronic.
Okay,
And
good,
electronic.
good.
So we put us leave one in that building for that reason.
If we cannot get that resolved within the next week or so, then, and I understand we're trying to save money and I'm all for that, but also understanding it's difficult because we're not ADA accessible and with older people and so forth.
Without having-
If we can't get that done, in my mind, within a week, it's been down 6 weeks. If we can't get it fixed within a week, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and get the elevator people in and have them get the thing fixed.
Yeah, I don't think it's been 6 weeks.
Well, that's what I was informed that.
No, it hasn't, it's been.
I mean, it's
probably
been having issues,
2 or 3.
but
Yeah, there's issues that have popped up before, but they've always been able to fix it. I thought Danny was calling somebody and they were waiting on the prints. And that's why they couldn't fix it, because we were waiting on the prints
yeah,
to give to whoever he called to fix it.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
the long and short, if we have prints now, we should be in our hands that we can get the thing fixed. If we can't get it done, then we're gonna have to bite the bullet.
Yep.
And get it in there and get it fixed so that we can have accessibility
Yeah,
to the different offices in there and so forth.
Well, she talked to me too, and, you know, we're doing the best we can. Things
Yeah,
break,
I-
we're trying to fix them, and public's just gonna have to be patient.
Yeah, I understand, but 6 weeks is, if it is 6 weeks, that's what I was told, if it is or isn't. And I explained it to her, and I'll get back with her, but now that we got the schematics in, and I understand exactly, and I support what we were doing, trying to save money, and I have no problem with any of that.
Yeah.
Comes time in life, we gotta just
pay for it.
get it done and get it over with and move on.
Yeah.
Next issue is certainly it's much more of a complex issue, something I've been working on since I started in this position. That was somehow or other reunite the museum with the foundation and the historical society and so forth and so on. And there's just been, I know the historical society is running the museum. They're on a limited income basis, and they're having a difficult time. It's a non-paid position now, and they're having some difficulties on dealing with the whole thing. And I understand there's some differences of opinion, and we finally got an agreement where we can, if I get approval of the board, but I'm not ready to come back for a total approval of the board. But basically, what would amount to is there would be a 7-member board that would run the museum, is what I'm proposing. And that would be made up of 2 from the foundation, 2 from the society, and 1 commissioner, and 2 people that are appointed by the commissioner. And that they would govern the museum, and that we each would contribute a portion of the cost of operating the museum. Now, this is there's a lot of things that have to be worked out, a lot of detail has to be worked out, but at this point, we finally have an agreement that we can sit down, come up with an agenda, and start working towards that common goal. So, I guess what I'm asking for the board is, do I have permission to proceed? Not that I'm asking the board for any funds at this point or anything of that nature, but to proceed and then at some point come back to the board and make a recommendation or as to how we can do this thing long-term. So what the goal is to establish a long-term viable museum for the residents of Seneca County and the visitors to this area. And I realize in the past it's been a little bit of a hot topic and there's various sides of this thing, and all I've been trying to do is to try to find a common ground that can be acceptable to all members and affordable to the county.
Just a little history is, when we took that $500,000 hit, or I forget how many dollars it was now, somewhere around $500,000 from the state, 700,000.
Yeah.
From the state local government fund, we had to make some tough choices. And that's when we went to the high deductible health insurance, which was the biggie. And the museum was also, I don't want to say put up for bids or proposals of people who could possibly run it and not cost the county anything. And we had two groups propose. You had the Historical Society and the Foundation. And it was both good proposals, and with a 2-to-1 vote, we went with the Historical Society. So they have a year-by-year lease, and they basically run it, cost the county nothing, and they are struggling financially, but if they decide that they don't want to or can't afford to, I'm sure the Foundation would take up the lease under pretty much the same terms. So it is, you talk about long-term viable museum, I think it is right now, whichever group runs it, I think it will remain open for the foreseeable future. And it doesn't cost the county anything right now. So I'm just a little, we could probably afford to throw in a third. We made that tough decision once, though. I hate to come back 2 years later when the next financial crisis is and make that tough decision again. Just thoughts.
The foundation, I mean, I don't know if you can better define, I know at one point I've heard, what are the types of things they take care of? 'Cause
Well, the
building is ours.
foundation would continue, as I see it today, the foundation would continue to take care of any major capital improvements.
Okay,
Right.
And they've agreed to continue with that. They would have to change some of their bylaws to be able to contribute towards the operation of the museum. So right now, from what I understand, their bylaws allow them to handle only capital improvements, not operations. So there's a lot of things that would have to be done. I know that the society struggles with maintaining what they have, and so that's when they approach me, what's their options? Well, I've said there's certainly not an option for the county to take it over. That's not, we don't have the funds, that's not there. Propose this option, and it's taken a number of months for both sides to digest it, and you know, as I stated many times in the conversation, whatever's happened in the past is history. I don't want to deal with that. This is from this day forward, and we now have an agreement to move forward in principle. So there's a lot of things that's got to work out. Who's going to pay for this person? Is this person going to be a county employee? Is this person going to run through the Visitors Bureau? All those things, realizing the county cannot contribute solely towards this process. And even a third, if that's the decision, I still have to come back for board approval if it's a third, and then it's a third of to what budget. So the budget's got to be, a lot of things, an awful lot of things. This is real high level right now.
So the board's gonna do more than just worry about who the person is that's working there, though? What are the other aspects, I guess?
The board,
If you
this,
form this board, I understand the makeup of the board, some
Yeah.
from Historical Society, some from the foundation, and then some, a commissioner and some appointed by us. So they're gonna oversee all museum operations,
We'll be done in
or?
about 5 minutes.
they
What would it
will,
be?
as I see it, and again, I would just be one member of this board, or a commissioner would be just one member of this board. They would oversee the director. First selecting a director, there is nothing, there's no guarantees that the existing director would stay there. We would have to request applicants to come in, and all these things need to be worked out. Commissioner Stacy,
So I guess I'd be
don't have the
interested in
answer.
seeing more something in,
Pardon?
I'd be interested in seeing that as you're just updating us on discussions that have been occurring, and more as you get a little further with it, with some things in writing, that's kind of, I guess,
Yeah,
of what potential, I mean, not knowing that everything's that black and white, but here are some concepts of what this board might do, this is some of the, you know,
That's where
I
we
guess that's
have
where I
to
gotta-
get together, we have to hammer those things out,
Yeah.
which we have not done
Yeah.
yet.
yeah.
Just, we have one group that is operating the museum, somewhat struggling, another group that would like to see more things done in the museum, and the county is sitting back here, we don't have the money to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if we have the money to even do part of it, that remains to be seen yet. But again, two factions have come to me and said they would like to unite somehow or other to create something what they feel is more long-term. Now, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Commissioner is,
I think we all want long-term viability for the museum.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
how to get that,
How to
Yeah.
get there, and I'm just a little reluctant for the county to start funding.
All right,
But
I hear you.
you can talk to, see what you come up with.
Yeah.
To answer your original question, the one I heard anyway was the foundation has no, they're not required to do anything, but historically, they have done capital improvements. If they've refurbished paintings, they've
Okay.
done improvements to the buildings and grounds and things like that. But by law, I don't think they're required to do anything, just their bylaws. They're an independent
Okay.
group.
I mean, this is a long road to go down, and if maybe something that can create a better museum and a better asset for the residents of the county, and it may not be something that's gonna happen, I don't know, but I just wanted to update the board and
Sure.
Yeah.
get your blessing to go forward. I'm not asking for any money, it
Oh, yeah,
doesn't mean we're gonna
yeah.
come up with anything, but this is gonna be the 7-member board that will decide it and come back to this board for their feelings and their recommendation.
So this board would be appointed and then further talks would happen, or you're just talking now and maybe the board sometime in the future?
Yeah, as I see it, is that at this point, it's just talking, it's a the board has no authority. But as I envision it, 2 society, 2 foundation, 1 commissioner, and 2 appointed by the commissioners. So that you would have a 7-member board that would govern the director of the museum and the operations, and you still have independent boards. Foundation has their independent board, they would select 2 members. The society would have an independent board, select 2 members, and
Okay.
the last thing I think that maybe that we need to at least to get on the table. My hat's off to the previous commissioners, and you concluded with that, Commissioner Wagner, is that you have been very diligent of setting funds aside for someday, somehow, somewhere, a justice center. And I think, as I see it now, I think we need to start really discussing setting some funds aside this year. I think right now, we're roughly about 3.5% to 4% ahead in our sales tax revenue. And I think last year, was it 300,000 or 400,000 that the commissioner set aside for the justice center? 400,000. I would like to, I'm not ready to make an official motion yet, but to get it out in the public, try to get public input from that. If they still support us, that the commissioners would set funds aside so that at some day when there's a study that's being done right now through Kroger store, I'm sorry, whatever that thing is.
North Central, the COG.
The COG. And they're doing a study right now. They've received a $100,000 grant for the Justice Center. So they're starting the study, assuming that the study will be conclusive that a Justice Center is needed and the cost of a Justice Center. So I think it would be prudent for this board to look at continuing to set some funds aside. The thing that bothers me a lot, is our carryover. It continues to dwindle. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And I think it's time that we start discussions on setting 400,000 aside. Again, I'm not making that motion right now. I think we need to think about it as commissioners, maybe get some input from the public, and hopefully my goal would be, is by the end of August, that we can be in a position, if sales tax continues to run at the level that it is, and expenses kind of taper off, that we could make that motion to put some funds aside. Whatever your feelings is, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I just, I got asked that question this morning at Business Boosters. I spoke to them and they asked if that had indeed been money set aside, and I said, yes, the previous board had done that. And that certainly feels like it would be the intention of this board to do that if we knew we could, but that we probably, and I try to remember dates, I would look to Jeff because of having been here, but that we would probably be more like into the, maybe the beginning of the last quarter, the end of the third quarter, to know what our new health insurance is doing with our rates there, as well as what our carryover is left and what sales tax, just to make sure, you know, we don't make that decision too soon and then find ourselves, you know, scripting and scraping to do something else, so. But yeah, certainly, I do think it makes a lot of sense, like I said, if we can do that, I would
From what
love
I
to see that happen,
understand,
or continue to
if,
happen.
even if we put it there, and a catastrophic situation happens, we can take it out if it, in a dire,
I don't think we can, I think the judge would have to
Judges.
court order it.
okay,
So you'd
okay.
have to have one of the judges, or maybe two, I don't know, could one do it?
I think one can do it.
Okay. You'd have to be a court order, so if you just wanted to, I don't know, buy some cars or fix a road, they probably wouldn't let you do it. Your priority would have to line up there, but once you put it in, you better figure out and stay in there.
Well, and the sooner it gets pigeonholed there, the less likely it is to get spent elsewhere.
Right.
And the good thing about the 215, we put it in emergency situations without having to move it out of the general fund. Say something wasn't covered under the insurance, the elevator. Worst case scenario, we have to put a new elevator in the CSB. The funds are in 215, it's in a specific line for the courthouse right now. It would be in the fund that we could move that to the CSB and do the repairs to supplement it, but we couldn't take it out like for salaries. We couldn't put it back into the general fund to use it for salaries, to use it for cars. The 215 is only the capital improvements. So, but that's worst case scenario if something like that happens. That it gave us a little bit of access to that money if we absolutely needed to, but it kept it away from the general fund, so we couldn't just.
Kind of like putting money into a retirement program. You can get it out if you absolutely
really want to.
have to,
Yeah.
but you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it gets in there, it's less likely to
Yeah.
be spent out for other things that we feel we need.
Yeah, I brought this up earlier in the year, March or something like that. And I do believe, I think it's important we set aside something this year. It may not be the amount that we set aside last year. I think it's important we set aside something. Just some thoughts on it. The sales tax is ahead. The casino revenue is behind. And it will be behind all year. I don't think the casino revenue will catch up.
What are they projecting?
700 was the projection,
So what's in the budget?
is what is it projected in the budget.
And I
yeah.
think when I talked to Julie and Damon about it the other day, we were kind of anticipating anywhere between 50 to 100,000, we might have to reduce in expected revenue for the casino.
Yeah.
So
With
it's
the payments that are
7
coming.
to 650 or 600.
Yeah, yep. But sales tax is doing okay.
550 or 600.
700 is what they,
Yeah.
Is what we
what would you
budgeted.
say, 50 to 100?
50 to 100.
Oh, 50 to 100. I think you said
Not to
100.
100.
I'm sorry.
50 to 100, sorry.
Yeah, 650 to 600 is what they
Okay.
have to.
Okay. So I too, maybe we ought to wait just a little bit longer. We were able to put aside 400 last year, but the unappropriated balance was a little higher. I don't remember what it was, but it was a little higher than what it was this year, which makes sense because you take 400 out of that, and that's part of your unappropriated balance for the next year. I still think we need to think about, if we do get a new certification somewhere along the line, some sheriff cars, whether that's the end of this year, or the beginning of next year. I want to keep that in the mix every time we talk about this, because that's something we can't, there's a couple that are costing us some
You know,
some
I
good
actually
money to
have,
fix up.
I have a meeting with Sheriff Eckelberry tomorrow, and I wanted him to make an assessment of his vehicles and so forth, so we can look at when replacement needs to be done. Clarify this for me. We have ICE, which is running ahead of what last year.
Well, the
Can-
last revenue report has it at 49%, which is right on, which is a little bit behind, but they haven't paid for several
There's
months.
2 months we have are unaccounted for. We just got a payment like
We did
last
just get a
week.
payment.
Yeah, just come, I got
Okay,
it.
okay, good.
But it was only
good.
one. We
Yeah.
had 2
Well,
left.
Yeah, but you're looking at receipts there, and
I'm looking at
again, if
receipts,
you look
which
at
is-
accrual versus, I don't know, what's the
And-
two different accounting?
And it's running ahead, but when was the period when it was behind because of the restaffing with the medical?
That was
That's
last year.
That's
Yeah, but I
last
mean,
year.
but if we're running ahead of what was projected,
Of
or
what
are we
was
running ahead of a
budgeted.
year ago?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
of
budget,
budgeted.
okay.
No,
I thought you were
that-
comparing to, okay.
Yeah, so I guess what my question is, you know, the, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the more revenue he brings in from ICE, the less that has to come out of the general fund. Is that correct? And can that be used towards vehicles and those things that extra?
It comes into the general fund and then we appropriate it.
Yeah,
whatever. ICE was estimated to bring in, what,
1.7, I think, 1.8.
1.78 somewhere, is that?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay, but so that goes right into the general fund, but the sheriff on both sides budget is about 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So if he brings in 2 million in ICE, then it's gonna be only 1 million, we have to come to general funds. If he brings in 1.5 in ICE, then we gotta bring 1.5 in general funds. You see where I'm coming?
Sort
ICE
of.
is slightly, am I wrong? I don't
well,
know.
it does change, the more prisoners he has, certain things go up, like food goes up. So
Yeah.
it isn't necessarily dollar for dollar, but yeah, it's point well taken. The more he brings in, the better he's doing. Or
The less
better
that
we're
we
doing.
have to contribute towards it. We as the county general funds.
As, it all flows into the general fund.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
the less
yeah.
the county taxpayers maybe have to put.
Yeah, okay, the county taxpayers, yeah, that would be, so,
But he's got a couple cars that are costing him pretty good money, according to Denny Wilkinson, Sheriff, or Officer
Yeah,
Wilkinson.
yeah, and he's
So
gonna
if we
need
could-
a
if we could
couple
replace a
vans.
couple-
Yeah, he had asked for a couple vans, and you guys said maybe we'd revisit that in late August or September to see how we were sitting on funds.
So I just wanna keep that in the mix, whenever we talk about setting money aside for, the courthouse, which I agree we need to do, I wanna keep that in the mix, so we don't get
justice.
too many different, whatever.
Justice.
You sound like Ben now. We don't get too many different pots going here. When do you think, and I know it's impossible to, when does the Budget Commission normally make adjustments? It would be more like November before they make an adjustment?
They were talking about it yesterday and said they wanted to look at next month's sales tax before they would even start to consider making adjustments, because they've got some that are running, we're actually over, but then some are under, so they kind of wait until they start noticing a big difference to make those adjustments. So
Yeah.
it might be October when they may start making some adjustments.
Is that too late to do this? I'm kinda like Commissioner Stacy, I don't wanna do something too early and then say, oh.
There's
think
never
about it.
too late in this, we could do it December 31st. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, but, if I got money in my pocket, I spend it. If it's in the bank, I don't spend it, or if it's in this 212, or whatever you call
215,
this,
yep,
this
Yep.
Yeah.
ledger account.
It's
And-
things-
But I realize, I'm not saying we need to do it today, but I think these are good discussions we're having here. And I would suspect, hope that over the next 4 to 6 weeks, if we keep running at this, that we can then start having some real serious discussions as to, but you gotta start at some point.
Yeah. It's like this, we moved 35,000 for juror fees, and it's gonna happen, you're gonna have more of those
Yeah, I
that you
mean,
can't do anything about.
I don't like at all where our carryover funds are. We're not real healthy there for our carryover funds. I hear you loud and clear.
And vehicles
But
have
I-
been, Nikki's working on a list with the general fund vehicles, including the sheriff's that you'd asked for.
Mhm.
She's been working on that.
Waiting on a sheriff.
And, but after our meeting the other day, when we were talking about
Uh-huh.
the vehicles, Julie had brought up the Weights and Measures van. It's getting by, but she hasn't really said it's breaking down, but she just wanted to
Put that on the list.
put that on,
It's gonna be
put
on the
on the
list.
list, because that's something, the previous Weights and Measures guy kept it secure, and, I mean, he took care of it, and the new guy, it's gonna come back to our parking lot and, you know, maintenance on it and different things, so. But she wanted to make sure we put that on our,
Yeah.
Keep
on
that
our
on the radar,
list,
keep it on the
yep.
radar.
Yep,
You know, all things considered, when you look at the macro level of the economy that's going on right now, things are in an upturn. So if things were going in a downturn, I would be much, much more cautious on spending money and living with a lower carryover. But the economy is on the upturn, and I tend to have a little different thought, a little more aggressive thought on some of these things. And again, that changes based on the economy, but all indications are that, when you listen to the economists, is that things are on an upturn. So I think sales tax and those types of things should continue to trend on the upside there.
Okay, I guess we all want to put something aside if I'm hearing it right.
Right.
But I prefer waiting just a little longer and see what the budget commission's gonna.
Can we kind of table this until,
Somebody brings it up again.
well, yeah, that's true, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
You
I
can
have
bring it up
nothing else.
anytime you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see,
Yeah, just a couple of things. On Thursday, I'm speaking with the YMCA Day Camp kids. So if you want to hear an explanation for kindergartners through, I think maybe third or fourth, fifth grade students about county and taxes, you come and I'll give you that diversion.
Maybe I need to listen to those things.
It's been fun kind of putting it together for them, but I can't give you a preview, it's not all done yet, but it's in my head. And then, just so you know, in the fairness in representing the county, the Attica Fair is on, and, in obliging with my fellow commissioners, I'm the one that's gonna be in the pie eating contest. I will get even. On Thursday evening, so,
isn't there a pig scramble or something?
Right after.
We had the options to do that. We elected Holly. did it?
Yeah,
Holly
they both have
did it.
other meetings on Thursday night, they're busy, so.
Oh.
It's probably legitimate, but just so you
Mickey's gonna
know.
videotape that, put it on the website.
Yeah, there you go, should be quite the sight.
We can maybe replace Trey, he likes pie.
There you go. But no, that is it, just, like I said, lots of things this week with getting out, and that's good.
We will be at the OSU meeting at 5 o'clock this evening as well. They're having their board or whatever meeting they call, so we will be part of that this evening at 5, which we talked about last week.
Yeah,
I think the COG's having a meeting tomorrow morning.
yeah, who's going
Who?
to that?
The COG, the NCOE.
Yes,
let's
I'm
see,
going to that.
You're going to that,
Yeah,
okay.
state meeting,
good.
okay.
That's got the natural gas,
Yes.
propane.
Yep, we figured gas spread, that'd be perfect. Sorry.
Strike that for the record, please. I mean, just, this is, what they're talking about, they're doing a study on natural gas vehicles for county and also for
Schools would be the big one.
schools and various industry that could utilize this. Jody, don't leave, we're looking for the cupcakes.
Hi, Jody.
Yeah, it's kind of to assess all the needs of the county and the residents and so forth, so they could put in like a filling station, is that what it is?
Yeah.
A natural gas filling station, and I guess there's substantial savings in that, so that's what the study, and they're gathering all this information and so forth. Yeah, I'll be attending that tomorrow.
Good, good, good. Okay, anything else from the board? Any public comment this afternoon?
This afternoon still.
We put it in the record that Jim did a very nice article with
He did.
Holly and I. It was very well written. Thank you.
You wrote that down?
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
We adjourned at 2:00.